Art. Isn't it great? People are able to make original creations for the world to see and...
Wait, haven't I seen this before? Actually, haven't I seen a lot of these before?
Yep, because nothing's original in the art world.
What?
Hello interwebs, I'm Eric and welcome to TheLooneyTurtle. When a work of art is created, we always take reference from something. For a lot of classic pieces, they used real life as their reference, figuring out how to sculpt the proper proportions of a human being in, full detail. The same can actually be said about cave drawings, starting with an event or object and trying to depict it on a wall. Though we've moved into the digital age, a lot of the techniques and mechanics of digital art are still based in real-life techniques with a canvas, cropping, textures, and even shading. I would say the smoother as well, but let's be honest, artists that use that just can't draw traditionally.
Shots fired!
That being said, look at this, or more specifically, this piece. In it, we can see the standard 80s style with neon lights and bright, glaring colors, the standard proportions and stance of a My Little Pony Friendship is Magic character, the lighting is soft shading, which has been done by countless artists, and the outfit seems to be the standard punk rock outfit. This work references a lot of material in order to make something that we would consider original, but Synthwave, the artist that made this piece, doesn't own any single aspect of this work. It's the combination of these elements in this specific way that she owns. This work, by Xeo Defix, is similar, but it's not plagiarism like this tweet may suggest.
What? But it's Synthwave's art!
No, while the first two has a clear enough case, the bottom two are far from plagiarism.
What? It totally is! The stance is the same, the clothing's similar, and even the theming of the entire thing's the same.
I will admit that Xeo is doing something objectionable, but it's not something as bad as plagiarism.
What?
Plagiarism is the idea of taking someone else's work and passing it off as your own. It's a principle easily applied to writing, but not as easy to apply to styles, techniques, and poses in artwork because that's too broad a concept. How many pieces have you seen with a pony standing on 4 legs? How many times have you seen a character wearing a jacket? How many times have you seen a background contain a tree? There's probably quite a few, and it's not because these artists are plagiarizing each other, these are just common elements, common choices within certain types of art. In contrast, this would be considered plagiarism if I published it and claimed that I made it.
To clarify, this was made by Natsu, link in the description.
This would also be considered plagiarism because while I made a change and added a few details, the artwork is still largely Natsu's. With this image, or more specifically, these two images, there are similarities, but it's obvious that these artists drew the pieces themselves and even made a fair amount of stylistic choices to make them distinct from one another. The coat color's different, the jacket's a different style and material, the stockings are absent in this image, the hair colors are basically the same but in a different order and a different hairstyle, and both of them seem to be ripping those colors from the Synthwave style of artwork. There's a white outline around this character but not that one, the proportions are different, the facial expressions are different, the forehooves are in different positions, the list goes on and on. These aren't simple changes, they are entirely different pieces. However, Xeo is at fault for one thing alone. It appears that she's relying too heavily on one reference.
What? Then she's ripping off Synthwave, isn't she?
With that logic, it can be claimed that Synthwave is ripping off, fittingly enough, Synthwave, the genre of music that uses this exact style, colors, and overall design as Synthwave the artist. She is the biggest copycat in the fandom, so it seems ironic that she would hypocritically attack an artist for referencing her work. Beyond that, she, like other artists in the fandom, are ripping off Hasbro. This isn't an original pose, and the character design isn't original or inspired. This is a My Little Pony Friendship is Magic character, Hasbro's pony design. If you're going to complain about Xeo Defix, why not complain about Synthwave's blatant ripoff of other people's work?
Because that's different. She made a lot of changes.
If you don't see the differences between these two pieces, then you need to rewind the video because I literally just spelled them out for you. Again, Xeo is referencing Synthwave's art a lot, and that can be discouraged, but not by claiming that she's plagiarizing. Using references is how any artist learns. No one just picks up a pencil and decides to make a work of art. They had inspirations that influence how they do their craft. However, an artist is only able to create their own distinct style when they take reference from multiple sources. Unless you're pop media. It might not be an apples to apples comparison, but take for example this channel. I could have taken the standard MLP analysis model of OC in the bottom left corner with a screen or visuals in the top right, but instead I had multiple inspirations from outside of this community. A figurine from my fish tank brought to mind the idea of a turtle, game theory, AVGN, Nostalgia Critic, Jazza Studios, Aaron Hansen, and countless others were my reference for the animation and overall style of the videos I make. JonTron could be considered my reference for having an animal sidekick, kinda how he took from Banjo-Kazooie, and even SpongeBob of all things was unintentionally referenced to the chains attached to a board. I and other content creators aren't quote-unquote original, as we're always taking ideas from something else and remixing it to our own style. If you can think of it, it's already been done in some form. For more information on that, I'd actually recommend the series Everything's a Remix because it goes into far more detail than I ever could.
Link in the description.
Xeo is definitely using a lot of the techniques in Synthwave's art, but since Xeo drew these pieces without tracing and significant changes, it's not plagiarism. She is a talented artist to be able to make something like this, and I would like to encourage her to continue, but if there's one piece of feedback I'd give, it's that she should look at more varied artists and work on developing her own distinct style. Try drawing models to figure out the human form. Try drawing real horses and ponies to figure out their proportions.
Actually, don't do that. You're gonna have a bad time.
Try making vector art, traditional art, anything and everything. Artists in the Brony fandom, like Xeo, and honestly Synthwave too, can and should do great things through experimentation, but they'll never be able to get there with one reference, or worse yet, a group of artists using the same style. But that's just what I think. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see all of you in the next video.